Donald Trump. He's under indictments and facing lawsuits of every type, but Donald Trump just won another election, this time in the presidential primaries. But can he drive this bulldozer all the way back to the White House? Today we're going to talk about several new ways that artificial intelligence tools, which were developed for business, are being weaponized for politics in the 2024 United States presidential election. And we'll see how the tools that may be developed for this election could then go back to generate higher profits in the world outside of politics. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. I'm building AI Capitalist to give business leaders the tools you need to come out ahead in the fast-paced AI transition that's going on all around us. So it's never a good idea to discuss your religious or political convictions in the office. We're sitting right here in my office right now, which means I'm not going to weigh in on which way I'm leaning in this election. But whichever way you're leaning in this election, I'm going to try to take a balanced approach. Now, it's clear that Trump has a no-holds-barred fighting style, which puts more emphasis on winning than on other things. With that in mind, let's go through some of the newer tools and technologies that Trump or Biden or their fanboys could deploy in this fight to give their campaigns a competitive edge. First one that's been around for a long time now is deepfakes. Deepfake is a video that seamlessly blends images, video, and audio to make it appear as if someone is saying or doing something that they never actually said or did. We first saw this in 2016, when Governor Tarkin, played by actor Peter Cushing, had made a cameo in the film Rogue One, even though the real Peter Cushing was dead in the grave 22 years before the filming was even made. Now, Jordan Peele made a viral deepfake of President Obama, which he later revealed to be himself.
I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
In 2024, there's fear that deepfakes could be generated using this technique to reinforce existing weaknesses of the candidates. So, for example, a deepfake could be made showing Trump doing something nefarious with top secret documents, or President Biden suffering from some medical emergency that never happened. Last November, in an election in the faraway land of Slovakia, AI-generated audio recordings impersonated a liberal candidate discussing plans to raise beer prices and rig the election. By the time the alleged recordings were discredited, they'd already gone viral. In fact, we've already seen something similar in the United States. The Trump campaign produced a deepfake of NBC's commentator Garrett Haake trashing the other Republican candidates in the Republican debate.
DeSantis, an establishment rhino that wears insoles in his boots in order to look taller, and this is Nikki Haley. Nobody really gives a about Nikki Haley. Who the
Of course, that was all completely fake. Another political action committee called the Courageous Conservatives created a deepfake radio ad that simulated the voices of Nikki Haley and Tim Scott.
Haley or Scott, who supported defunding local police?
That's me, Tim Scott. My Justice Act defunded police.
Haley or Scott, who demolished the Confederate Memorial in Columbia?
Me, Nikki Haley.
And that one was just as fake. The difference today is that making Rogue One required a whole studio of professional filmmakers using a stand-in actor to develop this radical new technology. Deepfakes don't even need to be produced by the campaigns themselves, and you don't need the budget of a political action committee. The difference between 2020 and 2024 is that everything is available online and free so that that little guy sitting in his basement can make content, real or imagined, that's more convincing than anything created by well-financed political action committees or full-on film studios could 4 years ago. In and of themselves, deepfakes are old news, but what is new isn't just the lower cost, ease of use, and rapid production time that they have today, but also the capability of generative artificial intelligence to create the content and what they're saying. Which brings us to a second way that AI will influence the 2024 election as no other. There are now algorithms that can scan your social media posts, your income, zip code, religious affiliation, and any other data that's publicly available. It can then put together a very likely profile, not just of who you are as a voter, but what issues drive you, and what are you most afraid or hopeful for? What are your core values? And if you feel that you're deriving value from this episode, I would urge you to hit the like button. Pressing like helps spread this value to others, and it lets me know that I'm making a product that you want more of, and I thank you for your support. In 2020, the rudimentary technology was good enough for foreign governments to create bots, which are automated social media accounts used to spread disinformation and to manipulate public opinion. They were just computer programs that posted or retweeted content, and bots can rapidly flood social media platforms with posts containing misinformation, disinformation, or propaganda that's aligned with a particular political agenda. This flood of posts from different accounts and different people, apparently people, can create the illusion of widespread support for a particular narrative, and it can drown out opposing viewpoints. In the 2020 election, there were simple bots that were programmed to engage in basic conversations with real users, which made it very hard to identify which users were real and which were fake. But in the 4 years since the previous presidential election, generative AI has exploded. We can even write our own GPTs now to create our own chatbots. So imagine a chatbot running on a Facebook account that interacts with a particular voter. The chatbot is able to figure out what the voter wants and to engage in a conversation trying to persuade the voter on a particular position or for the chatbot's particular candidate that's programmed to support. But this time, the chatbot is armed with all the data on that particular voter. This means that a voter could end up in a long conversation with someone that he doesn't even realize isn't human. And this program would have all the information about him and all the tools of persuasion to craft convincing arguments. Will social media companies step in to put a stop to this? No, this seems really unlikely, right? Since Elon Musk took Twitter private and removed most controls on content, Twitter, which is now X, saw an explosion of AI bots. YouTube and Meta took the hint, and they also reduced the number of human staff actively monitoring for manipulative content. Now just imagine if the two technologies were merged. From the dawn of time until now, politicians have had to guess what most people in the crowd want and then promise enough of it to please most people without provoking everyone else. But today, all the technology exists for you to be able to have a convincing video conference with an AI avatar of a particular presidential candidate. I'm talking about a one-on-one interactive conversation about whatever issues you want. And the avatar candidate will probably have a pretty good idea of what you want to talk about and what he needs to say to get your vote. The third way that AI can be used in the run-up to the presidential election is that there could also be stronger checks in the voting booth. The same tools that are used to gerrymander districts by predicting individual voter behaviors could be used to specifically target those same individual voters for disqualification. In this case, your algorithm is looking at a race, income, or previous political contributions, and it determines that you're likely to vote for the opposing political party. If it does that, it could then flag you for further investigation, and this would give the lawyers for that candidate that doesn't want you in the voting booth the ability to look for mistakes in your registration or for other ways to disqualify you as a voter. So politics is the art of persuasion, and an election is just a glorified marketing campaign. When you're listening to me talk about these various tools like pre-programmed chatbot avatars, just think of a live customer service representative, but one who's well-informed with all the relevant personal details about you. When you hear about deepfakes, think about instant marketing content. When you're about AI bots, think about automatic brand reputation defenders that act online automatically. The urgency of war always rapidly advances technology. And as Karl von Clausewitz once said, war is just a continuation of politics by other means. During the 2024 US presidential election, AI Capitalist is going to be paying close attention to how new technology developed for this fight could be repurposed for more productive and profitable applications. Stay tuned and subscribe.